Well, good morning. I am so excited to be with you here today for the Alzheimer's Association Ride to End ALZ Summer Challenge. This is the fourth challenge event for the Ride to End ALZ, and we couldn't be happier about bringing you the next chapter. Right now in the United States, more than 6 million people are living with Alzheimer's, and over 11 million Americans provide unpaid care for people with Alzheimer's or other dementias. This disease is destroying our families, our finances, and our future. It needs to be defeated, and that happens through research. 100% of the money raised through this event will fund promising research studies. Let me say that again. 100% of the money raised from this event will go directly to research. Someday, when a cure is discovered, we'll all look back and say, I played a part in that. However, there's a long way to go to get to that day. So come on, everybody, let's get to work out there. You know, every one of us has a reason to ride. Maybe you ride to honor a family member, a friend, or a colleague. Maybe you want to raise money for the cause. Maybe you just simply want to bring awareness. The why and the story behind it is everything. And let's take a look at some of our riders telling the stories behind their whys. Let's roll that clip.
Hello, I'm Rosalba Jones, and I'm coming to you from the Atlanta metro area. I ride to honor the memory of my father, Simon Flores, who we also call Grumpy. Alzheimer's affects all of us, and it'll take all of us to put an end to Alzheimer's. Thanks for joining me in the Ride to End Alzheimer's.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I ride for Team Geno. I live in Grass Valley, California, and I want to see an end to Alzheimer's. Ride on.
Hello, my name is Carol. I ride in Virginia and South Carolina. I began road cycling to raise awareness and funds to support the fight against Alzheimer's and all other dementias. This year, I'll be riding as part of Team Mary to honor the memory of my mother and my mother-in-law. Alzheimer's touches all of us, and it will take all of us to end it. Thank you for joining the fight, and welcome to the Ride to End ALZ family. Happy cycling.
Hi, this is JP Parmley from Dayton, Ohio, and I want to thank the Alzheimer's Association for putting on not only this fundraiser, but all the efforts they performed to find a cure. While today I'm writing in remembrance of my grandfather, Vincent Bauman, I'm actually writing for that first person that will be cured from Alzheimer's. It is with all our efforts that this person will be identified sooner than later. We need everyone's help to make this possible. If you're not riding today or have not yet supported a local team, please go to alz.org to make whatever donation you can. You never know who that first person will be.
Wow, some incredible stories, and that's what this day is all about. So now it's time for some fun energy. Our first guest is going to no doubt bring it. It's my honor to introduce to you the Ride to End ALZ cycling director, Sarah Prevost. Sarah, it's wonderful to see you. Do I even need to ask how you're feeling today?
There's so many words. I'm excited. Now I'm overwhelmed. I'm already choked up. I'm just giddy. But the word that keeps coming back to my mind is grateful. I am so grateful that every rider is choosing to make a difference today, Dave.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really am. Sarah, you've called this challenge event format a new way of thinking about cycling events and raising funds for Alzheimer's. Can you talk a little bit more about that for us?
Yeah, it's my favorite part. You know, we have hundreds and hundreds of riders riding today, and it's special and different and unique and meaningful for every single person involved. The word ride can mean 2 miles, 200 miles. We've had skateboarders riding. We've got Pelotoners, Nordic trackers, Swifters, outdoor riders. And, we even had someone say to us, "Can I ride on my riding lawnmower?" And we looked at each other and thought, sure, because this is about fundraising for Alzheimer's research. It's not just about the bike or the wheels, but it's about fundraising. And in the last year and a half, not even 16 months, we've raised over $1 million through the Ride to End ALZ for Alzheimer's research. I just get goosebumps thinking about it.
I'm with you. I really am. Today's about the stories. We saw a few of them just a couple minutes ago, but there's so many more out there. I mean, Sarah, let's be honest, it gets incredibly emotional, and all of these stories matter. At the end of the day, that's what drives this event, isn't it?
It is. And every story and every name is important. I'm just watching them flood in through social media this morning, and I'm just so proud of everyone for having the courage to share those stories, because it takes courage. I ride for my father-in-law. Everyone's sharing the names and the reason they ride. And, the volunteer stories, in addition to the rider story, the volunteer stories are the ones that touch my heart. We have volunteer committees that put on all of these events, including this one. And Lori Summer is one of the volunteers on the committee. And when I met Lori and heard about her and her 3 sisters taking care of their mom for the last 10 years with Alzheimer's, they rotate care. Someone is always there with the help of professional caregivers. Her story touched my heart, and I'm so excited to share her story with all of you today. So let's take a look at Lori's story.
So that's just my mom as a baby.
Meet Lucy Summer, born in 1931, a beloved wife and mother.
Yeah, so there's 4 of us. I have 2 older sisters. They're 2 years and 4 years older than me, and then my younger sister is 7 years younger than me.
And Lucy's girls still remember her always having a very kind and giving volunteer heart.
She was a member of many different women's groups. Women's Bible studies. She was a group leader, so she was very giving in that way. She would, she always had a lot of homework to do.
Lucy was interesting because you could tell that she was introverted, but she was what I would call a social introvert, because she definitely valued being part of groups and doing the leadership and being involved. And she also really enjoyed her quiet book time, too.
But a little more than 10 years ago, Lucy's memory started to fade, and she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease.
I don't know, you don't talk about Alzheimer's that much. I tell people, but probably the first 5 years of my mom's diagnosis, it was more close to the vest with my entire family. Everybody was kind of, we kept it within the family. And that's hard because you're isolating yourself.
Do you feel like you've lost your mom already?
Absolutely. Yeah. We stopped on the way up here today to say hi to her and just give her a hug. And she wasn't there, but she really hasn't been there for 5 years. So it's been a long, they call it the long goodbye. It's been a very long time.
A long road already for this family.
Well, I'm hugging her. She doesn't hug me. So but it's still priceless and meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
Yet Lori and her husband Fielding decided to do something special on the road to honor Lucy this year. They are riding 50 miles in the Ride to End Alzheimer's.
It's going to be really satisfying and feel wonderful to ride in her honor. I know she'd be amazed. She was a kind, compassionate, very energetic person, but she wasn't super athletic, so she would have been amazed that we were going to ride our bikes 50 miles, and especially for her. So, yeah.
She would have been the one in the volunteer t-shirt.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, she would have, definitely.
A volunteer at heart. That's where Lori's mom would be, if she could be, on the sidelines cheering. Yet instead, many of us simply carry those we love like Lucy in our hearts and minds for each mile we ride to keep us moving forward.
It means a lot to me to be a part of it and to help, and hopefully what we're going through right now, just hopefully less people have to go through this in the future.
Wow. What a heartfelt and powerful story, Sarah. Great job putting that together. Thanks to both you and Lori. I was really, really impressed. Sarah, another great way to tell a story is through pictures. And I know you are always really excited to get more of those in from our riders, aren't you?
I am. And you know that I'm just choked up this morning. The tears are
Yeah.
flowing this for me and a lot of people. But you know what? Let's now take those tears and fuel our legs while we're riding and everything we're doing. And pictures, what a great way to capture memory. So take pictures today. The riders all know this before, during, and after. I'll let you get by with just one if you don't want to take all three. And then post them to social media today with the hashtag ride to end alls. And if you're not on social media, that's also okay. Just email them to us at ride@alz.org. This is the fun part. I'm going to stop crying and let's do this, everyone.
I tell you, Sarah, when you start crying, it makes it even harder for me not to. It's an emotional day, and that's what makes it so special for sure. So I'm going to say, please flood Sarah with pictures. We absolutely love them. So, Sarah, thanks for your energy. We'll be back and have you join us again a little bit later for some more of your just patented pep talks. We love you, Sarah. So thank you. An event like today doesn't just happen on its own. It takes countless hours of behind the scenes work by an army of volunteers. It's really impressive what this group does when they come together. And the Summer Challenge was spearheaded by a committee of incredible volunteers. And I've got the honor of introducing the leader of that group to you next. Her name is Janice Oatman. She's up in Minnesota, and she's this year's Spring and Summer Challenge Committee Chair. Janice, it is so great to see you again.
Hello.
There we
Great
are.
to see you again as well, Dave. Greetings from the north.
Hey, well, you know that we love all of our friends up there in the great north, and certainly it's wonderful to see you again. You've got an amazing riding culture up there in Minnesota for sure, Janice, and I'm glad to see you've been able to tap into that. So you've been the chair of the Challenge Committee in 2021, and for someone to make a commitment like that, let's be honest, it means that there's probably a pretty strong personal connection to Alzheimer's. Would you mind sharing that connection with us, Janice?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to share. I think my story of getting involved with this incredible organization and event really comes back to the power of the ask. It was my sister who asked me to be involved after she started volunteering with the Colorado Ride to End Alls. And the reason that she did so was the caretaker for 3 years for my grandma, who eventually passed away from Alzheimer's. And, she gave up 3 years of her life to care for grandma, who was someone that was very, very close to me and to her. And so when my sister Janae said, "Hey, you've got to get involved with this great ride and this great cause," I felt like that was the least I could do. So never underestimate the power of that ask.
I absolutely hear you, and thanks for sharing that with us, Janice. You've mentioned the committee that you chaired this year. Can you tell us more about that experience?
Yes, absolutely. Well, like you said, things like this don't happen overnight, and the secret to success is surrounding yourself with great, passionate people. And I have certainly done that, making me look very good. So, all of those committee members that have put in countless hours, thank you so much. You know who you are, but I'm going to throw out a few names: Carol, Tarina, Rob, Danette, Brian, Kathy, Sarah. You guys and gals know who you are. Skip, Joe, Lori, Steve. It's just been an honor to work with all of you, Joni and Amy. Just really admire the passion and the time that you have put forth. Everything from, planning calls to getting out there and putting up signage in the community, even during this difficult time. And then, of course, helping with welcome calls. That personal touch really goes a long way. And then, Dave, the other thing is we've got these great committee members, but we've got incredible riders and donors. It's just a great three-piece puzzle.
It really is. And I want you to know how proud we are of you. And I can only imagine your grandma would feel the same way. That's for sure. So would you do me a favor, Janice? I think yeah, absolutely. I think you should have the honor of highlighting some of our fundraisers and teams out here, Janice. So I'm going to throw it to you for our honor roll call here.
Okay, I'd love that. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, let's get started. All of the riders and donors and teams are so important to this event and to the impact we make. But this is definitely where these are the people that really deserve the extra special love and attention. So let's start with number 10. We've got Jennifer with $3,000 raised. These are our top 10 participants. Ken with $3,370 raised. We've got Alicia with $3,487 raised. Jay with $4,080 raised. And we've also got Jim with $4,155 raised. And then we're going to spot number 5, and we've got Sam with $4,230 raised. John in spot number 4 with $4,650 raised. Carol with $4,670 raised. Might I remind you, these are all individuals raising all of this money. It's incredible. Gary in spot number 2 right now with $4,942 raised for the cause. And our number 1 individual fundraiser right now, Kathy, with $11,900 raised. Wow. Dave, can you believe that?
Wow.
That's crazy. All right, let's go on to the teams. Yeah, let's go on to the teams, the top 10 teams here. In the number 10 spot, we've got $2,525 raised there by that team. And then we've got Pedal Alls Out for $2,560 raised in the number 9 spot. The Clifton Cycling Club at $2,650 raised. Team Pardo at $3,487. And in the 6th spot, GCC's Century Ride 2021, $4,380 raised as a team. Let's roll to number 5. We've got Team Mari at $4,720 raised. Team Sunshine at $5,345 raised. Number 3, the Innovators, $9,065 raised for the cause. Team Gino raising $11,900. And in the number 1 spot right now, we've got the hashtag, love that, hashtag Hardcore Fights Alls with $31,844 raised for Alzheimer's research. That's incredible. So Dave, please join me in giving all of these top fundraisers and top teams a big round of applause. Every rider, every donor is important, but these top 10 have really gone above and beyond.
That is
Dave,
phenomenal.
that's it for me. I'm going to toss it back to you.
Well, thanks, Janice. So impressive. Great job, everyone. And I really want to thank you, Janice, for your leadership. And we really appreciate all that you do. So all the money we raise here today goes to research. That's awesome news. And that's going to fund the science that we need to finally beat Alzheimer's. The science that Alzheimer's is funding is truly groundbreaking. And before our next guest joins us, take a look at this video on how this amazing science is happening at any given moment and all over the world. Truly some great work happening, and what a perfect time to introduce you to our next guest, Dr. Rebecca Edelmeyer. She is the Alzheimer's Association Senior Director of Scientific Engagement and knows all about the amazing science going on. Dr. Edelmeyer, welcome. We are so excited to have you here today. What an exciting time for Alzheimer's research. That's been all over the news lately. Can you tell us, let's get right up to speed, the latest and the greatest?
Well, thank you, Dave. First of all, I want to thank you very much for having me on the show today. It's really been incredible and inspiring to watch and hear everyone's stories. It's actually really hard for me this morning not to get emotional, but to see so many folks out there on their bikes, having fun and supporting our research mission, it's really what drives us on. And I've got to tell you, it's truly an exciting time in Alzheimer's research. And we, along with millions of passionate researchers, volunteers, donors, and supporters, won't stop until Alzheimer's and all other dementia are stopped. The Alzheimer's Association really is the world's largest nonprofit funder of Alzheimer's research and is the largest nonprofit with the highest impact worldwide, behind only the Chinese and United States governments, as measured by Insights and Clarivate. Behind the various research efforts fueled by the Alzheimer's Association, research is always happening. We're not just talking about research in just one area, but important research is occurring on every front line across disciplines, the fields and industries. The milestones are being achieved every day. And right now, the association has more than $250 million invested in more than 750 projects in 39 countries. That's 6 out of 7 continents. So at any given moment, as you said, Dave, someone around the world is working to end Alzheimer's and all other dementia. It's really a new era in Alzheimer's disease treatment and care. With the accelerated approval of a new therapy, people living with Alzheimer's now have a new treatment option. It's the first drug approved for the treatment of Alzheimer's based on amyloid plaque removal, and thus it attacks the underlying biology of the disease, really changing disease progression with the hope of providing more time for individuals and their families at the earliest phases of Alzheimer's.
So, Rebecca, it's been all over the news this summer, no doubt about it. And while all of us at the Alzheimer's Association were certainly cautiously optimistic about that development, you just didn't stop work when that announcement came out. In fact, you immediately went to work advocating for some changes, didn't you?
That's right, Dave, we did. This approval really ushers in a new era in Alzheimer's treatment and research. And history has shown us that approvals of the first drug in a new category of therapy will really invigorate the field. It'll increase investments in new treatments and generate greater innovation. And we have already seen evidence of this happening. We are gaining momentum. Looking at the big picture of science, we must really advance effective treatment options for all groups and all populations living in all stages of Alzheimer's. And one of those things is also eliminating barriers to access. And this is one of our highest priorities. The Alzheimer's Association will do everything in its power to ensure access to the new drug, any tests needed during the treatment process, and other associated costs for all who will benefit. The price tag for this new treatment was announced to be $56,000 per year, and this price is simply unacceptable, and we have called on Biogen to change this price. For many, this price will pose an insurmountable barrier to access. It complicates and jeopardizes sustainable access to this treatment and may further deepen the issues of health equity. We really need to continue to think about early detection and accurate diagnosis, and this has always been important. But approval of this new therapy makes early detection and diagnosis even more critical to ensure individuals receive the most benefit at the earliest possible point in their care. And Dave, so much more is happening in the world of Alzheimer's research. There are nearly 300 clinical trials ongoing at this very moment. We are at the forefront of leading and funding these groundbreaking trials, and it is exciting to think about what the future really holds.
It's an incredible time. It really is. And I have to tell you, just listening to you, Rebecca, has me excited about what the future holds in the fight against AD. And with you and the rest of the incredible people at the Alzheimer's Association leading the charge, I know we're going to get there someday. Dr. Rebecca Edelmeyer, thank you so much for joining us today.
Dave, it was really my pleasure. And for everyone out there, if you want to learn more about the latest research, news, and resources and get them at your fingertips, you can go to our Science Hub app. It's free wherever you get your apps. And I just want to give a quick shout out to all the riders participating today. You are really crucial in helping us to advance our vision with a world without Alzheimer's and all other dementia. Thank you so much for your support.
I am so grateful that Rebecca is on our team, that's for sure. Well, we are just about ready to head to the starting line and get going, but first, let's take a couple minutes to honor our great country and all the men and women in uniform all over the world who are protecting us and defending our nation. I'd like to ask everyone if you would please remove your helmets and hats and rise, if possible, as we're honored to be joined by trumpet player Gabriel Mervine for our national anthem. I love hearing it's so good. And Gabriel, that was fantastic. Gabriel's assistant deserves a round of applause as well for holding the flag so steadily there. So you can see by his smiling face that I'm now joined by my colleague and good friend, Nathan Guerra. Nathan, great to see you this morning. We are just absolutely thrilled to be here on Zwift and hosting the ride today. And we hope all of you riding along have a great experience. Nathan, no one better than you to ask for some insights here or highlights on Zwift and get everyone familiar and up to speed. How's it going there?
It's going good. It's going really good. A little bit of intro for those that don't know what is happening with Zwift. And, there's a lot of people I think out there that are going to be participating with the Ride to End ALZ that might not know about the virtual environment that people can ride in with this situation. So we do have a virtual environment that is Zwift that does help us to participate from all over the world. So all the individuals that you're actually seeing in this start pens right now are people from all over the world represented by these avatars in game. They'll be pedaling from their bikes at home or wherever they might have their trainers set up or their bikes set up that are powering these avatars in order to push them around in this virtual world. It's essentially gaming meets cycling is what you're seeing here. We've got about 53 seconds to go. We'll be out on the Sand and Sequoias route, which is a little bit of elevation and a little bit of flats up front, Dave. So it'll be a lot of fun, I think, for all the participants.
Thanks, Nathan. Another team that is key to pulling this off are the good folks at Cadence Sports, who are the leaders in the cause-related cycling space. They produce 3 of the top 5 events in the country, and working together with us here at Zwift Community Live, Cadence Sports and the Alzheimer's Association have built this cutting-edge virtual experience. As Nathan said, today we're running through the sand and sequoias world of Watopia. And as we go along, Nathan and I will try to point out some of the really cool stuff that you'll see along the way and introduce to you some special guests. So, okay, Nathan, it's time to roll. For those of you riding outdoors, please stay safe, follow the rules of the road, and make sure you hydrate. It's a big day of riding out there. And of course, please keep sending in those photos. For those of you riding with us indoors here on Zwift, it's time to hit out. We've got a special video for you to add to the excitement.
3, 2, 1, and all!
Way to go.
Woohoo, you guys! Good job!
That was a great look at our ride that they held in Fort Collins a little bit earlier here in 2021. And you could see the start and the energy there. Well, I am really excited about our next guest. This is Shauna Howard. Shauna is riding with us today in beautiful Southern California, actually the Los Angeles area. Shauna is a team captain, an avid rider, a business owner, and she even models for Zwift. You can see her right now on Zwift.com helping to advertise one of the smart trainers there. Shauna, thanks for joining us bright and early this morning on the West Coast. I have to ask you, how did you end up on the Zwift website? That's really cool.
Good morning. Good morning, Dave. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk with you today. I got to be a model with Zwift because I'm a Black girl who enjoys biking. So Black Girls Do Bike is a nonprofit organization that tries to get Black women in the United States and across the world to get into cycling. And so I was selected from our local chapter, our Los Angeles chapter, to model for them. And it's been such an honor to be able to do that. So thank you.
Well, that's cool. And by the way, I love your style. You've got a great look for sure. And it's really fitting. We'll talk more about the purple scarf. But Shauna, it's such a cool story. And obviously, there's a lot of folks that are finding cycling and getting back out there and maybe becoming more in touch with their community. And I am so happy that you're one of those people. If you don't mind telling us, and I know it gets personal, but what is your connection to Alzheimer's?
My grandmother, Coralie Starks, and my father passed away, unfortunately, of Alzheimer's disease. My grandmother, when I was a little girl, was the woman who taught me how to crochet. We used to go to her house. My dad would go to her house and do her chores, and while he was doing the chores, cutting the grass and chopping the wood and, taking care of her house, we were inside and she would teach me how to crochet. Sadly, it was as she was teaching me how to crochet that we learned that she was developing some memory issues. So for example, each stitch that she was teaching me, I noticed that she just taught me that stitch. She taught me the stitch over and over again. And when we realized that that's what was going on, she received the treatment that she needed. And then, shortly afterwards, she passed away. On a bright note, teaching me to crochet over and over again made me a very fast crocheter. It's a sad thing, but it's a skill that I learned, and it stayed with me all my life.
Yeah, it really the yin and the yang of the happiness and the
Mhm.
sadness that goes together with this is
Right.
really, really powerful. I mean, think about your dad. How incredibly cool that is that he connects these generations with him right in the middle there, and how powerful
Yeah.
that is. So it's a great story, something your grandmother taught you, and you now turning it into a business. And you've
Mhm.
included a line of purple items. What a terrific tribute to her. And I
Yeah.
hear this is the first ride to End Alls that you've done. So I'm guessing it was pandemic based, but how did you get into cycling?
You're absolutely right, Dave. You're absolutely right. At the beginning of the pandemic, I was one of those rare birds that thought that we were just going to be in a pandemic for 2 weeks. So I took my housemate's bike at the time and just rode around the neighborhood. And um, I realized how happy I was on a bike. I realized how exciting it was to explore Los Angeles. There were parts of the city that I had never seen before. So each day during the pandemic, during the beginning time of the pandemic, I would just go out and explore the city on a bike. And eventually I ended up meeting different people and joining different bike clubs. And I my first bike got stolen sadly, and so I took that opportunity to upgrade to a road bike. And once I upgraded to a road bike, all bets were off. I then became an athlete and really got into cycling a lot. And ended up losing weight. And as I said earlier, was invited to model for Zwift, and a host of other opportunities. There's a company called Light in Motion that hired me to model for them as well. So I mean, as the world was dealing with this horrible virus, my world was finally opening up. I was finally able to get my health together. I lost at the end of in the short time of 6 months last year, I lost 70 pounds, and really just found a new sport that I love.
Wow, that is an amazing story. I love that I'm going to nickname you Mrs. Upside because getting a bike stolen, you're able to find it. Like there's three positives that came out of that stolen bike. You are absolutely incredible, Shauna. And I did want to highlight the purple items. I'm going to be going online and ordering one from you for sure. The purple items, there's something special going on with those. Could you share with us what you're doing?
Yes. So I have a collection of designs. I'm wearing two of them today, the twisted headband and the infinity scarf, under my lovely jersey. I love it so much. So, but yes, I have a collection of designs that I've created where I want to donate a portion of the proceeds to Ride to End Alzheimer's. This is a collection that I'm always going to have because I've always had a connection to Alzheimer's disease. So, there are going to be items that will come in and out of my store, out of my store, but this collection will always stay. I've decided to donate 30% of my sales to Ride to End Alzheimer's, as well as making a personal donation myself.
Wow, that's impressive. The purple sheep better start growing more wool because you're going to be going through a lot of it out there for sure. Shauna, I can't thank you enough. Your energy is absolutely incredible. I've
Thank
always said at
you.
these rides, we should always try to make at least one new friend on a day like today. And
Yeah,
I'd like to consider you my new friend for sure, Shauna.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for taking time. I'm actually on my way out to go ride with my team right now. We're going to do about
Awesome.
60 miles through the Malibu Hills and about 5,000 feet of elevation. So I'm really excited that I got a chance to talk with you before our ride today.
Couldn't be better. You're a hero. Go get them out there, Shauna. Thank you so much. So, as we say goodbye to Shauna, I wanted to remind everyone about Sarah's ask for you to post those photos. And Shauna, we're counting on you. I love Malibu, so that would be really nice to see on social media. And use the hashtag ride to end alls. That's hashtag ride the number 2 End ALZ. We want to see those all over the place, the before, the during, and the after ride pics. And if you don't want to post them on social media, no worries at all. You can email them to ride@alz.org. We want to see you in action. You know, those photos that you post are going to help on several fronts. Not only does it help to spread awareness, but it also helps by potentially inspiring others to donate to the cause, all because they see you taking action. You don't know who's going to see your picture. You don't know who will be inspired and decide to give 10, 100, maybe even $1,000. We can move closer to a cure for Alzheimer's disease. Remember now that 100% of the money raised by the Ride to End Alls goes to research, every single penny. Each time someone donates, we get that much closer to a world without Alzheimer's. And to donate, again, you can go to alz.org/ride. Search the rider and team profiles, and please make a donation to one of them. You certainly won't regret it. So I'm going to bring back Nathan, and we'll check in on the riders out on Zwift. Nathan, isn't that cool that Shauna's our colleague now, helping to model at Zwift? Her energy is infectious. She's out riding in Malibu, but we've got over 100 folks, it looks like, and a huge group out here. Bring me up to speed, Nathan. How's it going for everybody? Looks great.
Yeah, a lot of chatter actually going on in game as well, which is pretty cool to see. It's always nice to see the people being social during the ride, and a lot of encouragement, it seems like, going on. Definitely want to shout out some of the riders that are out here who are also donators. Gary Putluck was signed up at that $4,942 raised. Tarina Wilkins was also signed up to ride here. And Nero Endurance Foundation had jumped in as well. Probably going to be Darnett Crespo that's going to be riding underneath that organization and what they've raised there. So those are just 3 of the riders who are out here hammering away or signed up for the ride virtually in order to participate today. They're hanging out on some of the flatter sections of the course, but the riders are going to be heading uphill soon, Dave, on a pretty familiar course with us. We have a lot of races actually out on Sand Sequoias. I don't think they're necessarily going to. They might be challenging a little bit, though. There is a King of the Mountain, Queen of the Mountain section out there where we may see a little bit of a split up of the group as they start to hammer away.
Even with folks as kind-hearted as our Alzheimer's crew, eventually every bike ride turns into a race, I think, at some point out there, Nathan. I have to give credit here, though. This group is flying. I mean, they were going 42 kilometers per hour when we checked in a little bit earlier. That's moving.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And just for anybody, people might be wondering, how does this game interact and what's happening between the riders? Again, every one of these avatars is represented by a real human being actually pedaling a bike in order to power the avatar that you're seeing in the upper left-hand corner whenever we check in on a rider. Right now, we're on the ALZ avatar that's being powered right now by an individual, I would assume coming from the organization. 198 watts, 134, 135 beats per minute. You can actually see how they are performing in the game, and each one of these riders can actually draft off the other avatars in the game as well. So it does perform and act a lot like in real life cycling, Dave.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. So in this Zwift platform, every rider you see is a human being somewhere around the world on what we call a smart trainer, which is a relatively sophisticated device that basically you put your bike on and it can tell how much power you're making. As you hear Nathan talking about watts, that's the unit of measure that we work in. 200 watts, I mean, it all depends how much you weigh, but 200 watts is a pretty significant effort. That would have a fit person working pretty hard out there. So it's nice to see, as Nathan says as well, the draft, just like in real life, makes a huge difference. So the riders tucked into this group, able to move along at a nice speed and not have to push so much wind through. Speaking of the good folks out there, I wanted to recognize our friends at the Neuro Endurance Sports Foundation. What an awesome group. And I heard you mentioning Danette Crespo. Well, Brian Darnell and Danette at the foundation are part of the Summer Challenge Committee, and they organized the training rides on Zwift. Maybe that explains why the group is looking so good today, as they've been training together. And the Neuro Endurance Sports Foundation seeks to increase awareness and foster enthusiasm and support for brain science through community activity and sports, exactly like what we're doing out here today. We've got another special guest set to join us now. And in fact, I'm hearing there may be several special guests. This is going to be a lot of fun. It really is an honor to introduce you to Ken Klasky. Ken is a rider in the suburbs of Chicago, and he's riding for his beloved wife, Kathy. Ken, thank you so much for being here. And it looks like you've got some others with you. We're going to bring Ken right in, and there we go.
Howdy.
Ken, thanks so much for being here. It looks like you've got some folks with you. Who is everybody there with you?
Well, I got a lot of family members. My daughter Julie right here, my son Tom,
Trans.
my granddaughter Mackenzie, my granddaughter Alex, my granddaughter Reagan, my granddaughter Riley,
Go this way. Elena.
my granddaughter Elena, my son-in-law Tim, a good friend Vanessa, and my niece Lisa.
It looks like they're freezing up for just a moment. I will get Ken back. So I will say first
and her
off,
husband Brian.
It's okay. We'll let them get that camera stabilized here. Ken. Hey, Ken, sorry, we had a little bit of a technical glitch. I have to say, I love your stage manager there. There are a lot of Klaskys moving around there, and it is really impressive.
Yes,
Thank you to all of you. Ken, you must be so proud of your family.
Oh, yeah,
that's
very
for
much.
sure. So, hey, listen, you mentioned Kathy. Can you tell us a little bit about her story? Well, actually, even your family's story in dealing with her dementia. So that was our question for Ken. I'm not sure if Ken was able to hear me. Ken, we were asking you to talk a
No, I
little
was
bit
kind of
about
locked up.
Kathy. Could you talk about Kathy for us a little bit, Ken? I know that it's of something that weighs for your whole family. It's been something that's been a big part of the
sure.
fabric of your lives.
Yeah, I worked a lot of hours, and Kathy was the one that took charge of everything at home and took care of the household and took care of the kids. And of course, when I was home, I filled in as I could, but she was really a take charge kind of gal properly. So lucky to have her, and everything worked out so great. And now it's our turn to take care of her.
Yeah, well, Ken, it's so honorable the way you and your family have stepped up. Kathy sounds like such a wonderful wife, mother, and grandmother, and I'm really, honestly, so happy she's surrounded by all of you. I can feel the care and the love.
Yeah.
I heard that you mapped out a special route today around your neighborhood. Can you tell us about that? I think this will really hit people in the heart.
Yeah, well, what I did was I found a route that encompasses. We're going to ride through those neighborhoods, probably like 3 loops. And
so we're going to have to say thank you so much to Ken, and I really apologize for that technical glitch there. As they were planning on riding back by Kathy and being able to salute her and honor her. It's really an amazing family, and in all honesty, there was no question that I would have started crying during Ken telling that story. So, Ken, we love you. We really appreciate you and your wonderful family and all that you're doing for the Alzheimer's Association. And yeah, our thoughts are with you out there as you're out riding today. Have a special experience. So that was Ken Klasky and the entire Klasky family. Ken was asking folks to make a donation as well, and those donations are what drives this cause forward. I really do wish you could have heard his story in his own words, because it was incredibly powerful. We've heard people talking about the necessity of research, and that research, obviously, for them directly impacts their right here, right now. A few of the brilliant folks doing that research heard about what you're doing out there today, and they wanted to express their gratitude right back to you.
Ride to End Alzheimer's riders. My name is Dr. Melissa Yu, and I'm from Baylor College of Medicine in Houston, Texas, a site for the U.S. Pointer trial that examines whether lifestyle changes can play a role in preventing Alzheimer's disease. Thank you for raising funds to accelerate Alzheimer's and dementia research across the world.
Hello, my name is Dr. Ozioma Okonkwo from the University of Wisconsin in Madison. My research is focused on understanding how genetic and lifestyle factors help to prevent Alzheimer's disease. Thank you, Ride to End ALZ riders, for your participation in this event. You are helping to advance dementia science and to bring us closer to a day that we can see the world without Alzheimer's and other dementias. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Inés Moreno, professor at the University of Malaga in Spain. My research is risk factors for Alzheimer's disease and focuses on how either severe or repetitive mild traumatic brain injury can lead to the development of dementia. Thank you, Ride to End Alzheimer's riders, for supporting research. Your participation helps to advance dementia science and to get close to a world without Alzheimer's disease. Thank you.
Hi, Ride to End Alzheimer's riders. Caitlin Castelletto here. I'm a neuropsychologist at the UC San Francisco Memory and Aging Center, and I just want to take a moment to thank all of you for supporting our research and getting us a step further towards a world without Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Good luck out there.
Well, good people creating a mutual admiration society, that is for sure. So have you taken those pictures yet? Have you posted them to social media or sent them in? We want to give you one more reminder here to show us your journey today as you ride to End ALZ. You can post them on social media using hashtag #RideToEndALZ, or simply email them to us at ride@alz.org. We want to see you working hard and having fun, and of course supporting a great cause. And while our riders are snapping those perfect shots and getting them posted on social media, I want to remind all of you watching that you can still donate. It's not too late. Go to alz.org @endalz.org/ride and click donate to make a fast, easy, and secure donation. We need you to be a crucial part of this fight. And even the smallest of donations help to move the needle. Trust me, you're going to feel great after you hit that submit button. So I'm going to bring Nathan back on board as we're going to head out and look at what's going on out on the world of Watopia. Watopia was the original Zwift world, and we've got some shout outs for our top fundraisers. Nathan, it looks like we've got riders left, right, and center. They're all over Sand and Sequoias right now. How's it going out there, my friend?
Yeah, and we predicted maybe things would split up a little bit once we hit the climbs, and that's exactly what happened. If you look in the upper right-hand corner, you can actually see the terrain that the riders are taking on with the little mini-map there. You can see a little bit. Kind of see the undulations that are happening at the bottom of that mini-map. They're currently at about a 3% gradient. I am being told that our ride leader out here today is Brian Darnell, actually one of the fundraisers as well, coming, I believe, also from the Neuroendurance Foundation, if I'm not incorrect.
You got that right.
$791 coming in from there.
Yeah, Brian Darnell and Danette Crespo, Nathan, you got that exactly right, are with the National Endurance Sports Foundation. They were helping getting everyone coached up and trained up out here. Done a wonderful job. So that makes sense, a steady pace there. Looks like everybody's having a nice ride. They're already almost 15 kilometers in, and they've only been riding for about 25 minutes here.
I love how the stories are being shared in here as well. You do see Ed Flanagan coming in saying two uncles have with ALZ, and I love it that this common cause is able to come together virtually, share their stories, and then all ride together like this. Very, very cool to see. Loving the encouragement continually coming on through also from our ride leader out here. This edition, you said Watopia is one of the newer world, or not the newer, one of the original worlds, but this is actually an addition that came in. There haven't always been dinosaurs in Zwift, but we do have a few dinosaurs that were added with this Sand and Sequoias route as we headed through the Fuego Flats and then on over to Titan's Grove that they're in now with all of the gigantic redwood trees and a lot of interesting wildlife out there. I think you'll see a T-Rex, some raptors, brontosauruses, pterodactyls, all as they go through this Titan's Grove and over the top of the KOM here.
Yeah, people really enjoy those Easter eggs that you see out here. And Nathan, I completely agree with you, is it really connects you to this ride when you realize, first off, that there's all these different levels to it, right? That each one of these avatars is a real person somewhere around the world riding. And each one of them has an impactful story, it seems, that will connect the dots with what we're doing here, which is supporting the Alzheimer's Association. A great ride, Nathan. I think the first ingredient to make a great ride is going to be the people that you're riding with and where you are. And in this case, our virtual world of Zwift it's been amazing for connecting people around the planet. That's for sure. So, all right, everybody, keep up the good work out there. Super impressive. We've got folks riding out in real life as well. Shauna was a great example. Shauna's a great example of someone who's dovetailed the in real life riding with the Zwift riding and her passion and her advocacy. She has really got it going on. That was one of the very cool people we've had a chance to check in with. But Nathan, I've got another really exciting guest that we're going to have a chance to get to know here, as I've been looking forward to our next guest all morning, to tell you the truth. Marshall Cohen is the co-founder of Ready to Roll Cycling. They're down in Texas, and he's joining us from the Great Open Road. This is a fun story because, Marshall, you're not on a bike, but you're living large, my friend. How's it going out there? I understand you're joining us from the RV. I assume that you're stopped while you and your wife are out there rolling around?
Yes, fortunately we're stopped. Yes, thanks. By the way, this show has been great, a great production. We're at the Hotter Than Hell bike ride. If you're not familiar, it's in Wichita Falls, Texas, premier race ride and event. And we're on our way back. We drove a few hours last night, spent the night so that we'd have a good connection. We're en route back to Houston, my wife Jan, and our new cream-colored English golden retriever, This is Ellie. So we'll get to see a lot of Ellie in the coming years.
Okay, I am completely envious of about every aspect of your life. That's for sure. Hotter Than Hell, a great event. I really, you've cracked the code there, Marshall. That's for sure. So, hey,
Yeah.
sounds like a lot of fun, but obviously, not everything about today is fun as well, as we're here to do some business, and certainly I'm hearing some really great stories about folks that are motivating others to donate to the Alzheimer's Association cause here. But I'd like to know your personal connection, if you don't mind sharing that with us, Marshall.
No, not at all. Well, just like it seems like everyone on the call has a connection. About 12 years ago, I lost my dad after about a long bout with Alzheimer's, and then about 2.5 years ago, I lost a sister who was just a few years older than me to Alzheimer's. So, from what I experienced, where it wasn't in the family, if you will, suddenly it appeared, and suddenly we started to get concerned. Hey, listen, it's all around us. And the more people you talk to, the more you find out there's Alzheimer's or some form of dementia around or in the area. My wife and I and another couple do a lot of fundraising for MS, and we've done a tremendous amount of work. And we started a training series to raise money for MS. And long story short, we said, we've done a lot for MS. Let's switch gears and not give up on MS, but let's put some effort into Alzheimer's. We can make a difference. And I'll talk a little bit about that as we implemented a ride. We really kind of got things going. So I'll turn to you, Dave, and answer any questions. I know you have a few questions for me.
Sure, absolutely. Marshall, first off, I want to say thank you so much for your time and energy and leaning in on this project. I know there's a lot of things in this world. Obviously, you're a man who has a passion for creating positive change. I can really appreciate that. So your energy going towards Alzheimer's Association is so greatly valued by all of us. So as you're saying, a cycling event that's been going on for several years down there, you linked up recently, or maybe not so recently, with Ride to End Alzheimer's. I'd love to know more about that relationship and the ride, because I'll be honest, I'm coming.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So kind of goes back a little bit. As I mentioned about MS, we saw a lot of progress. I've ridden the MS ride, Houston to Austin or Houston to College Station, 34 years in a row. We've raised, as a team captain and others, raised a lot of money. Switch gears. We're making a big push to try to make a difference now with Alzheimer's. And we started a ride 4 years ago called Pedal Away Alzheimer's. This is now our 5th year. We are surpassing right now $100,000 raised. This year is the first year we'll be associated or affiliated with Ride to End Alz. Thank you, Sarah, Brenda, and the team. We're so excited. The key takeaway is 100% of the funds raised go to research. That is critical. That's near and dear to our heart. Our ride is called Pedal Away Alzheimer's, happens September 25th in Belleville, Texas. We had a couple of years ago, pre-COVID, 1,200 riders. 1,200 riders, raised a bunch of money. And this year, the numbers are rolling on in. I don't know if we'll get to 1,000 or 1,200, but we're doing great. We are so excited to be under the umbrella for Ride to End Alz. We not only can put money direct to research, which we think is near and dear, we have an opportunity to provide prizes and to give people incentives to raise a lot of money. And it is a wonderful community. So the Ride to End Alz in Wimberley, Texas on October 10th is going to be an amazing event. If it's anything like what we just experienced in Colorado, it's going to be fantastic. Texas, you guys know, it's always bigger and better in Texas. So please come to Texas, October 10th. We have an open door and we will welcome you.
Perfect, Marshall. That invitation goes out to everyone. We'll look forward to bringing this whole group together in real life. That's for sure. Your karma rebate is coming your way, Marshall, thank you so much for inspiring us. You're doing a really great job. Appreciate you. So stay safe out there on the road for us, and we'll see you soon.
We'll do it. I'm glad you guys didn't wake the dog up.
So are we. So are we, Marshall. Okay, folks. Again, it's just good people that we get to check in with. And telling these stories is so cathartic. I'm really, really happy we have a chance to spend this time together. That's going to be now the last time that I'm going to ask you to donate today. You know where to go by now, alz.org/ride. You've heard the stories, you've seen the tears and the passion and the spirit. And if you're in any position to give, no matter how much, please do. As we're starting to hit the home stretch here this morning, you heard Sarah talk about Ride to End ALZ having some serious momentum. Let's hear about how the Ride to End ALZ team is planning to capitalize on that momentum and grow this bigger and better. Joining me now is Senior Associate Director for the Ride to End ALZ, Brian Tatum. Brian, what a great day it's been. Good morning. I hope you're feeling wonderful.
I'm feeling fantastic, Dave, and good morning to you. And you're absolutely right. What an amazing morning this has been so far, right? We've heard some incredible stories. We've seen some super passionate people. And as I'm looking down in the bottom right of the screen right now, I see we're up over $200,000. So that's a big, huge moment for all of us, for us on the Ride to End ALZ staff and all of our amazing volunteers. What a wonderful, wonderful day this has been. And, you know, I mentioned the stories, and I'm disappointed we lost connection with Ken and his family in Chicago. What an amazing group of people they are, right? And like you mentioned a little bit, Dave, they're going to be riding around the house several times so that Kathy can see them and wave and say hi. Just an amazing family. And that's just one example of the amazing people we have participating in this ride all over the country and indeed all over the world. So you asked me how I was feeling. Hey, our hearts are full this morning.
Good. They deserve to be. I hear that you've got some big plans for Ride to End ALZ, and we'd love to know more about what the future looks like for the movement. Can you share that with us, Brian?
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. You know, you mentioned the momentum we have right now. We recognize that. We're at a really great place. We're really getting the word about Ride to End ALZ out there. But we also realize that because we have that momentum right now is the time to capitalize on it and to expand this thing, make it bigger and better, get more and more people involved, and ultimately bring more money in for that all-important research to try and find a cure for Alzheimer's. And so we've got several plans to get that done. I just want to highlight a couple of them today. And we're going to start with this challenge event format, right? Just like we're doing today. What we've realized with this thing, Dave, is that it presents such a world of opportunity for us. And the reason for that is we're not limited to being in one geographic area, right? We're everywhere, all across the map and all around the world. Also, it's not limited to the more experienced cyclists and riders, right? We've got people of all riding skills and abilities, riding all different kinds of bikes. And we are going to really push to bring more of those people in for this challenge event going forward. You're going to see things like mountain bike groups, recumbent bike riders, family rides, little kids on, tricycles and big wheels, getting out there and doing their thing. We're going to bring all that in. And, earlier Sarah mentioned we had someone on a lawnmower. That's true. She didn't make that up. And I want to give a shout out to Jessica Lambert out in Massachusetts. She's on that lawnmower, cutting the grass and raising money for Alzheimer's research. Hey, if it's got wheels and you can ride it, Dave, we want you in this event. We want you to come participate. Another big area of emphasis for us with this challenge event format is our indoor riders. We're talking about our spinners and our folks on Zwift, right? Who are doing the smart trainer thing all across the country and all around the world. We realize that that's a big area of opportunity. And I'll give you an example. Right now, Janice mentioned earlier the Hardcore Fights ALZ team. It's a group of Peloton riders who got together and brought their energy and their enthusiasm over here to us to participate in this event. They normally ride under the name Hardcore to the Floor, and they do Peloton events. They do all sorts of other events together. That group, Dave, they're up over 130 riders, and they've raised nearly $32,000 for this event.
Wow.
So that's one team, right? Think about all the other teams that are out there for Peloton, for Nordic Track, for all the brands of the spin bikes that are out there. So we are going to make a concerted effort to go find those groups and invite them to come participate. I'm envisioning a scenario where we have this whole division within the challenge event of spin bikes competing with each other and going back and forth and raising more and more money and getting more and more excited. So look for that. We're also going to partner with spin gyms and studios around the country to offer them the chance to do their very own Ride to End ALZ themed fundraisers right there in their local communities at any time of the year. It doesn't have to be today. It doesn't have to be on the day we do the spring challenge when that comes around. It can be all year long, right? That's the beauty of this thing, the beauty of this virtual format. We can really make it what we want to be. And I want to give a shout out, speaking of those spin gyms and studios, to Pure Spin in Crossville, Tennessee. A smaller studio there, they got a team together and they're doing their thing today. We're going to replicate that all around the country going forward. And last, Dave, I want to mention our in-person rides. You know, you mentioned earlier about our ride in Fort Collins. We finally got to do our first in-person ride, right? Up in your neck of the woods, up in northern Colorado. And what a great day and a great success that was. Our next one, Marshall mentioned it a little bit, is going to be in the Austin, Texas area, the hill country of Texas, beautiful scenery, some tough hills. If we're going, be ready for it. That's coming up on October 10th. And then really excited to announce that we've named Washington, D.C. as our next major city we're going to for an in-person ride next year in 2022. We're gonna go there and have our nation's capital ride. Super excited about that. So Dave, we've got a ton of things happening, and there's a ton of momentum. We feel it. We feel the excitement. We started a movement here with Ride to End ALZ, and we're going to keep it going fast and furious.
Well, Brian, momentum is a great word when you're on a ride, and I can really feel that you've got it there. Tremendous job. Thank you so much, and good luck with everything going forward. So thank you, Brian. We're going to now head back and check in on some of our Zwift riders out there. All right. This is the Vanguard, our front group out there, over 100 riders. You can see raising over $200,000 here. Absolutely amazing day, Nathan, and still a great group. That's really what you're looking for when you're out there on Zwift, is a fun group to ride with, and looks like they've found it, Nathan.
Yeah, it's pretty great to see the regroup happening here. I want to shout out some of the donations. Tracy Barnes donated $100. You can see across the ticker at the bottom of the screen. Jeannie Gangora also donating $100. Ginny and Bob, $50 donated. Those are live donations as they come in. We are seeing that number go up. So if you go ahead and continue to donate, that will update live here with us as we see those come on in here. Over 200K raised. We're hearing from the ride leader in game as they push that across the screen. And what's really cool is I've seen a nonstop, steady interaction in game of stories being shared, paragraph after paragraph. Amazing. Here, actually, from individuals sharing their story here from across the world. One of the things I do like about the Zwift features is on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see each and every one of the country flags that are being represented here as well. You see a lot of American flags, but look at this. I mean, we're talking Germany, Wouters here coming out of the Netherlands. Canada is represented here. We're seeing tons. Brazil is here. It's just, that's one of the things I absolutely love about this is Sweden as well as the UK. The ability to connect from all over the world here through this virtual platform for this cause as well. That's always been one of the huge highlights of being able to Zwift together.
We're going to have to play something like 38 different national anthems before the start of the next Ride to End ALZ. So again, Nathan, what a day. It's really beautiful to see people coming together, sharing their stories. And Janice, another person who we've actually met Janice before. I'm a big fan of people that have her kind of positive energy. Shauna as well. These are folks that you really, meeting them virtually has you looking to exactly what we were talking about. Go do one of the in real life rides and have a chance to actually break bread and share some pedal strokes with these folks. It's been an absolutely incredible day, and you can see the dollars raised just continues to go up and up and up. But these stories certainly move you, and I agree. I wish we could have spent more time in Chicago with Ken and his family. They clearly had tremendous energy going there. And as Brian said, I love the fact that they're out there keeping Kathy involved by circling the house, and you can only imagine the waving and the love going back and forth. And that's really what today is all about. No doubt about it. So we can see the fundraising is going really well. Nathan, it looks like everybody's having a nice ride out there, and we're not all that far from the finish line today. There's really only one person that could wrap this thing up for us the right way. Let's welcome back Ride to End ALZ Cycling Director Sarah Prevost. Wow. Sarah, what a morning it has been. Yeah, I know. Wow is right. I'm pretty blown away. I know you have to be feeling just so energized right now, but let me not put the words in your mouth. How are you feeling, Sarah?
I am a mixed bag of emotions. You know, our first time we did this, we did not have this group of Zwifters like we have today. Can you believe it? I mean, I love watching them and just seeing all the different countries. You know, Jamie Chase has been with us since the beginning. There's so many people riding, and it's just overwhelming. I mean, I had this vision or this dream, and I thought, can this even happen? Is this possible? Could we do this? And you know what? The amount of passion people have, this event it brings you what I've been saying is the feeling of healing. You know, this is an intense disease. Alzheimer's and all other dementias can be intense, and you can feel very alone. And this ride to end Alzheimer's, people are fighting together. This is a fight, and they're doing it with their bikes. And I am overwhelmed. I mean, I haven't stopped crying this morning, but then all of a sudden I'm, screaming at the where, yelling, yeah. I mean, it's just, I'm almost speechless for how impactful the impact people are making today is just incredible.
I'm going to go off script, Sarah, but I tell you, people being so brave to tell their stories, that means so much. We talked about how much we appreciated you sharing your photos and letting us feel like we're a part of your ride. But to those folks, I'll use Shauna as an example, telling her story, and you realize, wow, boy, did her dad do a great job in connecting her to her grandma to be able to not only pass on the crocheting and the knitting, right, but the family legacy and that story. I mean, they're all better off for it. It is tough. I mean, I'll be honest. Basically, you spend this entire broadcast on the fringe of crying. You cry, yeah. I cry. And I'm not, I mean, I'm more than happy to be emotional because it means you're alive. And I just want to thank everyone who tells their story, because I know it takes a lot to do that. You have to go into that place, right, Sarah? You're around this every day, and you know that it's not easy.
And my family's going through it. My father-in-law, Richard, has vascular dementia, and it's getting hard. It's getting hard. And it's different for everyone, and it is so good to know others are going through this so we don't feel alone. Because it's when you're in your house and when you're dealing with stuff in the middle of the night or, situations that you didn't expect, it's good to have other people, and it's good to have the ride is something you can do about it, right? So that's important. For a disease that sometimes feels like you can't do anything about it, this is something we can do, and it collectively brings community, which is also what humanity needs right now. And what a great way for us to do that all over the country, all over the world. And I have to say, the Zwifters talking, that's also something new. Them all sharing their stories while they're riding, that is, I mean, what a great sense of community that is happening today.
I'm so proud of everyone for taking this sadness and this emotion and harnessing it and raising money, because, realistically, Sarah, we are going to find an end to this. It's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be next week. But all of a sudden, I felt this summer, we've talked about that with Dr. Edelmeyer, there is a real we've come around a corner. We've got a couple more corners to make our way around, but now we're just like our friends on Zwift, just like Shauna. What a perfect parable there. She decides like, hey, look, I've got some time. I'm a little not in shape. I'm going to take advantage of this moment. Well, we've got that moment right now, Alzheimer's Association friends, and I think that seizing this opportunity is absolutely massive. So inspiration off the charts today, Sarah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And I think, you know what I noticed, and it was all over the place, is this thing, it said a coast to coast affair. Which coast are we talking about? It's now a planet Earth affair, right?
It is. And there's such a sense of urgency right now. It's not like we're talking about something that isn't making major advancements. Every dollar, my kid raised $8 from a lemonade stand. Every dollar makes a difference. We've got Shauna in California, Ken's group in Illinois, Carol in DC, and other countries. I mean, it truly is coast to coast. And every dollar, with 100% going to research, so that whole dollar, every dollar makes a difference. And I just hope people, if they're sharing their stories today, if you haven't donated, please do. It makes you feel the love, especially for those you know, as well as if you donate on someone else's behalf, they feel so appreciative and loved. And don't we need a little more love in our world?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Sarah, speaking of love, you always talk about the volunteers so glowingly. Anything you'd like to send out their way right now?
Oh, I love my volunteers so much, and I need more of you. We want to make this ride one of the biggest ever, and I can't do it without help from volunteers. So if you are even thinking about or have a few extra hours every month, please reach out to us at ride@alz.org. We want to build the committees, and you can do it from anywhere and everywhere. You can just Zoom call in. We meet monthly, and we need more people to build this community. We can't do this alone. We have big dreams and big goals. We are fighting for the first survivor of Alzheimer's. And as a volunteer, you can say, I did that. And what a great thing to do in your life. So please, please, please consider being one of our volunteers, making a difference. Email us at ride@alz.org if you're interested.
Yeah, well said, Sarah. Thank you so much for your energy and your passion. You really do bring life to this initiative. Any final words for everyone out there as we wrap things up today?
Oh, final words. Just thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is a big deal. It's a big deal that you're a part of in whatever way you're involved. So donors, riders, volunteers, announcers, behind the scenes, thank you. This is a big deal. We're making a difference today, and we're changing the world. So thank you.
Well, you're going to make me cry. Thanks a lot, Sarah. I made it almost all the way through this broadcast. It's a special experience. It really is. What an amazing, amazing day this has been for everyone at the Alzheimer's Association, Zwift Community Live, and at Cadence Sports. Thank you so much for being a part of our Ride to End ALZ Summer Challenge. You are making a difference. And we want to leave you with a look at some amazing things that took place at the recent Alzheimer's Association International Conference in Denver. And remember, always ride on.